Morning, everybody. Good morning. Of all the teachings of Jesus, it was his teaching on forgiving the neighbor that caused the revolution in the teachings of traditional Judaism. Because according to traditional Judaism, justice is done by getting revenge. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Our American legal system is based upon the Jewish understanding of justice. Somebody does you wrong, you sue them. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Jesus comes along, and Jesus says, wait a minute, partner. It ain't that way. Jesus says, justice is done by sharing with other people what you yourself have received. As God has forgiven you, so you now are called to forgive one another. I titled this Novena, Live Like a Saint. And what I want to talk about today very briefly is that great revolution of Jesus. The revolution to forgive because we ourselves have been forgiven. You know, there is no glass ceiling to forgiveness. You can never say, I had enough, basta. No. Our forgiveness is just like the forgiveness of God. You do it twice, 4 times, 9 times, 32nd time, 32 times, and if it's your mother-in-law, 78 times. But the challenge is always to forgive, and that's what makes it so hard. Because you know why? We want to see blood. We do. We want to see that person get hurt. We really do. And yet it's always a call. It's a challenge to die to myself in order to forgive. That's how saints are made. By every day choosing forgiveness. You know, at age 63, you know what I've discovered? It takes a lot of energy to keep a grudge alive. You know? It takes a lot of energy to keep stoking the fires of resentment, to keep stoking the fires of anger. And of course, you know what we don't realize is this. The enemy, the betrayer, they've gone on with their life. They're doing just fine. And yet here we are, getting our underwear all tied up in a knot, stoking those fires of resentment. Let me tell you something. Forgiveness sets a prisoner free. And the prisoner is you. The moment you choose to forgive is the very moment you no longer give the enemy or the betrayer power over you. But as long as you hang on to that grudge, they are still betraying you. And you're allowing it to happen. And let me tell you something about forgiveness. It's not a feeling. I've learned that if I wait around to forgive you, it ain't going to happen. Because I'm never going to feel ready. Forgiveness is not a feeling. Forgiveness is a choice. Forgiveness is an act of the will. Forgiveness is a choice, like loving a teenager is a choice. And you either choose it or you don't choose it. And you know what? I've had it up to here, hearing priests tell me in the confessional, oh, come on, just forgive and forget. Just forgive and forget. It ain't that easy. You know why? Because some betrayals are so deep, you can never forget them. Some betrayals are so deep, they get into our DNA. But forgiveness is not a matter of forgetting. In Christian forgiveness, I remember what you did to me. In Christian forgiveness, I'll never forget what you did. But in Christian forgiveness, I make the choice to forgive. Because I love myself too much to continue giving power over myself to you. And that's why I say, when you choose to forgive, you set a prisoner free. And that prisoner is yourself. And finally, you want to forgive, and you just don't know how to get there. You want to forgive, but you find yourself drowning in resentment and anger, and you just don't know how to pull yourself up. Well, remember, forgiveness is a grace. It's a gift. It comes from a land that we don't live in. In some ways, it is the 8th gift of the Holy Spirit. And when you want to get there, and you just don't know how, then you go to Jesus. And you ask Jesus to give you the very grace that he received as he hung upon the cross. And in the very act of being betrayed, he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. May the Lord give you this peace.
Amen.